All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in once again to another episode of TMRO Talks. Today I have guests joining me to just talk about something new that they're creating and bringing to the CSRA. I will let them introduce themselves and share a little more of what that looks like.
Awesome. I'm Ezra Elliott. This is my wife, Katie.
What's up?
What's up? And we have a new startup that we're doing. So I've been in marketing for a long time. I've done video side of things for years, but we're stepping into this new startup. It's called Creo AI. So it is AI-based marketing, essentially allowing the power of AI to automate all the boring things or the things that nobody should waste their time doing. And then you get the business expertise of Katie and the creative expertise of me. So there's the human touch involved. And then just bringing that to small businesses or, single entrepreneurs, people who don't want to spend all their time going into social media or marketing.
So it's more, from the sounds of that brief statement, it is more to help market their business, right?
Yes.
The goal of it? Okay, awesome. So what does that portion look like from the AI standpoint? Like, what does that entail specifically?
Yeah. So basically, you hear a lot about AI today, right? Like everybody's like, use AI. I use ChatGPT to do this. I use this. There's seminars, courses, how to use AI. But the best way to use AI is to use it as an extension of yourself and not to replace things.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really the goal of Creo is, we're bringing real humans to guide the AI to be an extension of the business owner or the whole brand to basically just multiply what they're able to do. So we're not using it to, just generate a bunch of images or to just completely take over their whole presence, but using it to automate things, using it to replicate how they would typically post things or reach out to people or market in general.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And then the personal touch, the creative side, y'all still do the video, the photo, the, meeting and discussing, all of that, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think the thing about AI is that there's a lot of small business owners that leverage AI and specifically around their marketing too. But with small business owners, you have a lot of times you don't have the ability to actually outsource your marketing because of the price. I mean, going to a marketing firm is thousands of dollars a month. And so a lot of small business owners do it in-house, whether that's doing it themselves, because technically marketing is something that a lot of people can do.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, should they do it? Do they have the expertise to do it well? And do they have the time? And time is such a major thing for small business owners, as you know.
Yep.
And so small business owners spend a lot of time doing their marketing if they do it. And if they do it themselves, they probably are inconsistent and it falls to the back burner because marketing is not one of those things that your business will fall apart on a weekly basis if you don't do. So it's a back burner thing. But then too, we've heard a lot of people like hiring, one of their employees do it or hiring like a contractor for a couple $100s a month to do it. But what we're hearing is like a super high turnover rate of those people. And then you have the inconsistency as well of somebody, maybe a young person who's maybe a college student or fresh out of college doing that, starting that type of thing. So they're cheaper in terms of price, but then maybe they have you as a client for a year and then there's no, long-term commitment there too. And so those were some of the pain points that we were seeing with it. And so like as we were saying with Creo, like we are filling this space by having really good content, like bringing that human touch to you have the super professional photography, videography, everything like that. And then the AI that's specifically trained and built around your brand. So you get that consistency. So it's a really good fill for small businesses who are struggling to either do it themselves or truly don't have the price to go out and pay a marketing firm to do it for them.
Yeah. You talked about time in there and, being a small business owner, that is just such a valuable piece.
Mhm.
You hear the phrase a lot of the time is money, but even in the sense of just like time is limited is the way I look at it more so. Because I don't know, I'm a person who views money as nothing more than a vessel. It just comes and it goes and it's a part of life rather than like time is it's never going to change, but there's no like you don't know how much of that you're going to have to spare.
Yeah.
And
It's
so
finite.
utilizing it to the best of your ability and having those priorities and ways to make the most of it is important. It sounds like y'all are taking advantage of that, and that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like Ezra was saying this earlier, he was talking about how like when you start a small business, like honestly, there's a lot of things behind the scenes that you don't even think about or like see yourself doing. And of course, you have to learn how to do a lot and wear a lot of hats.
Mhm.
But there's that time aspect of like we've known, honestly, Ezra comes from a family of entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
So like watching family members and friends go through like, I started my business to do this because I loved this because, I wanted to, a lot of small businesses, like I love people and I wanted to serve this market and connect with people. And then it's like, what I'm actually spending my time doing is all the behind the scenes stuff.
Mhm.
And so it can really be consuming in that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like nobody starts a business to go into marketing. Like if you're starting a service business or a training business or a retail business, like you're doing that because you want to do that.
Yeah.
And you don't want to spend all your time. A lot of times it's looking like Saturday nights on your computer or, if you're working retail, you have people working up front and you're in the back taking care of all the nitty gritty.
Yeah.
And so our goal is just to help fix that.
Yeah. Now people can do what they want to do.
Yes.
That's something I was talking about, trying the idea of having to delegate that task though is also scary.
Yeah.
Because you're taking that and being like, okay, I'm having to trust somebody else with like essentially like your baby. It's like,
Right.
okay, here you go.
Yes.
And that's such a hard piece. And I didn't realize that until I started to like do that in little bits with my business. Like I've now started to incorporate, a buddy of mine is now a photographer for me.
Mm-hmm.
It's such a scary thing to bring somebody else into the picture and be like, okay, I have to trust that you're going to like do this and accomplish this.
Yeah.
Because this is a representation of something I'm building, right? And so in doing that, when people do that with me, and I don't realize this whole time that's what they've been doing. When they're like, hey, come do video first, they're in turn doing that with me, and I don't think about it that way. And it's such a blessing to get to do that, but it's also a blessing when you're able to do that and trustingly know that, like, okay, they're taking it and they're handling it with care. And I mean, I've known both of y'all for over a year in my life, and I mean, it's very clear characteristics of you guys, so I'm sure that will play out. In this, what's it called?
Creo.
Creo AI.
Creo AI.
Yeah.
So what's something y'all are looking forward to with this?
I'm just looking forward to how it can like help a lot of the people in our community. Like we already, it was easy to reach out to people who we know who have businesses and just kind of get it off the ground. And just the work that it's already doing and the creativity that I get to put into it, the expertise that we both get to bring to the table. But really, I think, it's funny because it's essentially just a marketing tool. Like if somebody sees it online, they're like, oh, cool, marketing, AI, whatever. But I think it really has the ability to like rejuvenate and really like bring power back into the community because the people that we're reaching out to, the people that we're working with are staples in the community and giving back the time back to them, giving back the emphasis of what they want to do. And like Katie was saying, a lot of these people like are passionate about the community and about the people around them. And so I think it really will be beneficial to our community as a whole and hopefully more communities soon too.
Yeah.
So
that's awesome.
I would say major ditto. Like, I think it is so fun. Like, we're in such a fun and cool position to get to work with a lot of like really, truly inspiring companies.
Yes.
Where it's like we get to be a tool, and like you're talking about this trust. Companies are trusting us to help build and communicate their brand. And we're working with some of the coolest companies ever that love people, that want to serve their community, and we have the opportunity to get to shape how they're showing up and to empower them to show up in the community how they want to.
Yeah.
And that's so cool and fun and inspiring. And I think Ezra and I both are kind of like, we love like a new adventure kind of thing. And so to get to be able to work with so many cool different like projects
Yeah.
has been already really fun, and I'm like looking forward to getting to have that touch point and influence like in our community.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. I was reading a book this morning on spiritual leadership, and it talks about like the entire portion of being a leader. Being a leader is being willing to serve.
Mm-hmm.
And like it goes back to especially being in a service based small business.
Yeah.
I don't think about being a leader in that regard. I'm just like I'm showing up and I'm serving them and I'm doing that portion.
Yes.
But in doing that, like I'm still like leading a portion of whatever that is that they're giving me. They're like, okay, we can't do this. We need you to.
Mhm.
And in that sense, it's like, okay, we need you to lead us here.
Mm-hmm.
And so doing that it just exemplifies that servanthood when you bring a service aspect. And I mean, I've had several different guests on the podcast, and a big common theme is just they want to serve and they're willing to serve. And that's just, I mean, that's an inspiring message to anybody listening, whether they're an aspiring entrepreneur or they're just simply someone who's a consumer, to just be willing to serve and doing what you're doing.
And I think a lot of people can say that, but one thing that I've learned too is like the power of like bringing clarity and that leadership into the room, like especially when you're talking about people who their time is limited, money is limited in small business. And so like creating a lot of clarity about what you're bringing, about what your expectations are, about what you expect from the other person, like even those small aspects of like what leadership actually looks like is really cool. I think sometimes we can think about serving others as just being nice and giving everybody what they want, and the real power of being yourself, one, but two, like speaking with clarity, not over promising, like having clear deadlines, meeting those deadlines, and just overall like doing things with excellence. And so like that's something that's a super strong value for me, but also I've seen that play out in like other companies that we're working for, where like if your desire is to do everything that you're doing with excellence, then you're gonna have a good business. I think like just having that personal conviction of doing things well, doing what you say you're gonna do, stuff like that.
And it reflects like the beliefs like of us and of a lot of the business owners that we work with are believers. And so that leadership, that like excellence, like, I don't remember what Bible verse it is, but like do everything with excellence unto the Lord. And so like that's also what we're reflecting, and what we've seen, and what I've learned from a lot of the people that we're working with is as they do what they're good at and as they do that well, what that is promoting to everybody, their customers, their employees, people that work with them, whether they know it or not, it's promoting the gospel because they're loving well, they're doing things with excellence. And so that's really a cool aspect to see in it too.
Yeah, I say that all the time of like working both running my small business and doing that piece, but also working in ministry. And I remember going into like the business was just getting started, I was getting planted, and I was thinking about applying for the residency with the church and doing a job. And as I was going to both of them, I was like, I can't do both. Like, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
And now being 6 months into the residency and a year and a half into the business and seeing how both of those things are just like playing off each other. And I'm learning things in the ministry world that are playing into the business world. I'm learning things in the business world that are playing into the ministry world. And that's because they're both areas where like leadership is such a priority and necessary. And even though I don't have a team, I'm still leading a business and leading myself with the goal in mind of leading a team and hopefully leading a family through this business and allowing it to be something that takes care of that portion whenever that time comes. And then seeing in ministry how that the leadership skills of and the community of commuting with people and being professional and being professional commuting with people in the ministry world. I mean, it's just the way it tied together. I could have never imagined. And I was meeting with someone this morning and talking about that. It gets crazy how just all these areas of life kind of intertwine and they mesh together to just once again, like you said, doing it, and it promotes the gospel. I think a lot of times people think of sharing the gospel and they think of like verbally just sharing it.
Yeah.
But I mean, we can do it every single day in just those simple ways that we act.
Yeah.
And as a business owner, it's so much impact. Because eventually people notice. They're like, you've been through X, Y, and Z, and you're still this way.
Yep.
Especially your employees on the inside.
Yeah.
So, like, for businesses like us, where we're working with other companies, and at times everybody's going to fall short or something's going to not go the way it was planned. And they're like, you still handled that very well, and you came back and you handled that like kindly and calmly. Well, why is that? And getting to share, well, it's just the way that I believe. And it's going to carry over.
Yes. I think this is actually a saying, but what keeps coming to my mind is like character bleeds. Like, so whether you have a strong character or like a weak character, like it eventually, like you can kind of put on an act and like hold everything together for a while, but eventually it's going to become evident, like where your character lies. And I think that's so interesting because we see this with public figures a lot where there's like something that comes out either that they've done in their personal life or just this like, oh, the culture in the company is not good. And you kind of see that reflecting on the character of the leader of the organization. So like a leader who is oriented on service, is oriented on doing things well, like there's just so many of those things that if the leader has that personally as a value for them, it's going to bleed over into how they run their business. It's going to bleed over into their employees, the customers they work with. I was actually on a retreat with the church this past weekend, and one of the ladies who's running it was talking about like a mix-up or a mistake or something that they had ordered something and it didn't come in time, and she was on the phone with the customer service people, and she said that the customer service lady who she was talking to was like, at the end of the day, like they actually couldn't fix the mistake, but the customer service lady was like, thank you so much for being nice to me. You have no idea how mean people are. And it's like, oh my gosh, like that is so true. When people get in a bind or when there's a mistake made or whatever, like that's when under that stress, that's when the character really comes out. So like even in little moments like that, your character bleeds over, whether you're able to stay grounded and be like, you know what, we're gonna roll with the punches here, and I'm gonna, take it in stride and be able to say like, hey, it's all right, like we're gonna make something else work even though this couldn't come on time and stuff like that. But even the people that you interact with on a daily basis, like it shows what's on the inside a lot of times. And if it doesn't, and if you have that moment of weakness where you go off on somebody, like, having the character to apologize and repair that and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Having the character to like humble yourself and be like, okay,
yeah.
I messed up. And that's so hard when doing like video work.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like to have to be like, hey, so
can we reshoot this?
This happened. My bad.
Yeah. I found out, like, I've been in the video world professionally for about 10 years, but been doing it like for like 15 plus years as a kid, like making videos and stuff. But I found out in the last year or two the importance, but also the benefit of just owning up. Because for so long, I would just try to like cover things up. And like if I mess up, I just tried my best to fix it so nobody will notice. But it goes over so much better when it's like, oh man, like I'm really sorry this happened. And whether it was out of my control or not, owning up to like, I made this mistake or, whatever, and then making it right. I think that shows, like Katie was saying, the character, because when you're working with people, they just want to know that you're trustworthy. They don't need, I had a client that I was working with, and it was that same thing. It was this small thing, but I was like, oh, I messed this small thing up. So I made it as best as I could. And he's just said something like perfection not required. And I just think that's so good where, they just want to know that like you're on their side and you have their back. And that's the best thing you can do is repair when you mess things up.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can think of times where for the longest time when I was getting started, when people wouldn't post every single piece of content that we made. Yeah. And I didn't understand. I'm like, why?
Yeah.
Like I put so much work and effort.
Yeah.
And then, like, I'd ask about it, like, hey, did you not like this, whatever? They're like, well, it wasn't anything you did. It's what I said here. Or it's the way that this looked. Like, it wasn't anything that was in your control. That was a mistake on our end. And I'm over here, like,
You're like, I was just worried about this.
And I'm over here thinking like, selfishly like, oh, I didn't do good enough. This wasn't, like, and internally that wasn't the problem at all. Mm-hmm. And it gets so easy to beat yourself up, but it also gets so easy to put your pride on top of that because it's something you've made and you've crafted, and it's like, this is really good. Why are you holding this back? Why is this not?
Yep.
When in turn, I mean, I've had people who I made a video for, and I didn't understand their timeline. It wasn't clearly communicated to me, but it didn't need to be.
Yeah.
They needed something made.
Yeah.
And 6 months down the line, it's posted. I forgot that I had made it. And I'm like, whoa! Because that's when they were planning to use it.
Yeah.
And it goes back to that time piece of like, that's the piece of like, they needed to have it done then because their time is so limited. Yes. And by the time it rolled around, they wouldn't be able to do it. Mm-hmm. That's why like all of these podcast episodes are not live. They're pre-recorded and come out later because that time of getting people together and then putting it together and getting it out. I mean, it's just another thing. And this is something that's just a passion. Yeah. So as unfortunate as it is, it just time-wise, it isn't the top of the priority list when it comes to that piece of, okay, it's recorded. I need to sit down and edit it. Yeah. I need to sit down and like write down the description and then upload it and have it ready to go. And it's so hard because it's like, I'm excited about it. I want to do it, but I have a client who's waiting on this piece and this has to be done. So yeah.
We've had that conversation so many times over the last couple of months of, it's just so much easier to work on clients' things because it's like, I know I need to do our own marketing, but when there's a deadline coming up and I'm choosing between these two things, it's like, I'll push this to the side because this is a real deadline.
Yeah.
But then, it catches up. It's like, oh, I actually do need to prioritize this, but it's one of those things that it's hard to do. It's easy to prioritize what is important. And I mean, it makes sense that the clients are more important than ourselves, but there's still that balancing act for sure.
Yeah.
But it's like that conversation, or I think this is a quote actually. I'm plagiarizing everybody today. There's a quote.
Best form of flattery, right?
That's like, don't let the urgent crowd out the important. And that shows up like in personal life, but also in business a lot. Where like if you get in that nitty gritty of every day the things that need to get done today and you don't prioritize the things that need to get done in the long term, or like setting your vision and like setting your trajectory and what you want for the next year or the next 5 years.
Yeah.
And that gets lost in the urgent of every day. And honestly, I'll say this is a piece that I own in Creo AI, which is like helping to onboard clients. And it is so awesome to get to help a company clarify all those things.
Yeah.
For us to sit down and have that talk to say like, hey, how do you want to show up to the world? Where are you going? Where are you now?
Yeah.
Like if there were no constraints in the world, like what would you want to be? What would you want to say? How would you want to show up? And all of those things, honestly, is so like powerful to sit down and go through that, because I think a lot of small business owners like don't take the time, or it's been a while. Like maybe in the beginning when you started your company, you're like, all about the vision and the mission.
This is who we are.
Yeah. And like, this is where I want to go, and just all that inspiration that goes in there. And then as time goes on, maybe you kind of like get 5 years down the road, or, your business shifts. And so you don't ever like come back to that conversation. And so I've seen that be of such huge benefit too, to actually sit down and like kind of put pen to paper and say like, all right, where are we and where do we want to go? How do we want to grow? And stuff like that has been like really cool to clarify and really help companies like take those things that are super important to them and put it all down and get it, like shirt up and in a statement and in a, it's actually really a fun process.
Yeah. And too, like, on the technical side of that, like not only are we helping them craft like mission, vision, their identity, if it wasn't super plain before, but also going to the like AI side and the technical side of things, we're not just using the same exact AI on every customer. Like we're building the customer's whole brand and identity, and that's how we're shaping the AI to, like I said, replicate and extend their voice. It's not just, hey, come up with a caption for this post. It's we're gonna write this email or this newsletter or this caption, and it's seeped in their characteristics, their identity, their beliefs, and
Their tone.
yes, it's all molded in. Like, one company's going to be very serious, one company's going to be like jester, funny, and it'll, their caption will lean towards that, whatever it may be. And so it's not just we're slapping AI on it and it's going to automate, but it's seeped in.
It's building it out.
Yes, and it's built on the human connection of this is who we are.
Yep.
You're working with professionals in the field to craft that so that the AI can do a good job at it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think of, when I first was like getting planted in my business, and the first guest I had on this podcast, she hosted a class that was like, it was called You, Me, and ChatGPT. And a bunch of people got together, and I was like super against the idea of even touching AI. I was like, this is like,
it's fake. It's not me. It's not.
I was like, this just feels like deceitful, bro.
Inauthentic.
And then I get in this class, and she starts talking through of like, it doesn't have to be that way. It can be a tool. And I think ever since going to that class, I've had that conversation with a lot of people. Like, yes, you can fully use it and plagiarize and do everything.
Right.
But at the same time, you can also go in and have it be a tool. I mean, I can now go in, if you ask my ChatGPT who I am, it'll play out so many things that even I don't sometimes think about myself, where it's like, wow. But it's just because I sit there and I go through so much time of building out that to where it is now personified to me and my business and what it is that I do. So when I have even an idea for myself, I'm like, hey, I have an idea, but I can't think like how to start. Like how do I execute this? Because it's out of my, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Range.
It's out of like what you can kind of just think about.
Yeah. And that's where, you do go, like, there's those big marketing firms. You go in and they have 15 different people, and that's why they're able to have that range.
Yeah,
they have 15 different brains.
Yeah.
And, like, it just sometimes you get isolated as that specific business. No one is specifically your business.
Yeah.
So you can go and talk to someone who's in a similar thing as you, but they haven't sat in your shoes for the past 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, however many years your business has been in place. So they don't know that full story like you do. They don't know the heart behind it like you do. But to get to feed that in and have something learn it and adapt it and remember it, it truly does help a lot.
Yeah. And authenticity is the biggest component of small business. Like if you're like, if I see something online, especially the like generated images, is like, if I see something, you sniff it, everybody sniffs it out in a second.
Yeah.
And so like our goal is to not be like, we're AI powered stuff. And people are just gonna be like, whatever. Yeah. We understand that small businesses especially need to be authentic.
Yep.
And all of us on the team for Creo in this startup, like, we all believe that too. And so it's like, we're gonna automatically go to authenticity.
Yeah.
Like, we're gonna go authenticity by default. And that's our standard, that's our core. And so that's why we build it so large, because it's not just AI wrote this for me. This is who we are, and you can't replicate that. So that's why we just use it to extend it.
Extend it, exemplify it, and push it. That's incredible. So as y'all are getting planted, I already asked what's something you're looking forward to. What's something that's currently happening that's just exciting, or you're looking for people to just see more of?
I would say like something I already named, which is that like onboarding process. I think that I've seen it be extremely beneficial for companies. I mean, it's a fun part and an exciting part for me personally, because I just like I love talking to people. I love like hearing about their heart behind their business. I think everybody who starts a business just has that passion, has that drive. And I find that so inspiring. Yeah. But also I think that taking that leap to come on with us, like, you're not just getting the ongoing support of having your marketing team, but also getting that like extremely detailed onboarding process. And I've seen that be very beneficial. And so like, that's a part that I'm just really excited about right now, and just find exciting.
Yeah. And even like before we even deliver anything, they kind of have this like renewed sense of like encouragement, because we're kind of like helping them remember why they started the
Yeah.
company and like
Yeah.
who they are and like what they stand for.
Yeah.
And it's like before we even deliver anything tangible, they have that like, oh man, like I love what I do. You
Yeah.
know? It's kind of that reminder. It's
That's
pretty cool to see.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So as y'all get this out there, what are ways people can like find you and support you, like social medias, website?
Yeah, so getcreo.ai is our website. You can go there, check out all the features, price points, everything like that. And then Facebook and Instagram, Creo AI. I think Instagram is Creo AI Marketing.
Okay.
So follow us there. And then we'll be doing more like public facing promotional things in the future. So
Yeah. Awesome.
catch us on the TMRO Talks podcast.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm glad y'all were here. Honored to get to, announce the startup and share that with people.
Yeah.
I'm very excited to see where it goes. And, assuming that there might be a season 2 or 3 of the podcast, maybe you come check back in and share the growth.
We'd love to.
Absolutely. Thanks for having us.
Of course.